Hey y'all, it's Brendan with Worship Tips, just coming to you with a real quick video. Well, maybe not that quick, but quick-ish compared to some videos that I have done. I just wanted to talk to you about one simple do-it-yourself fix that you may not be aware of, that it's an easy thing. For those of you who have this problem, you go to adjust your AVIOM, and you turn it one way, but the light doesn't go the way you're turning it, and then you keep turning it, and then eventually it comes down, but then lo and behold, it jumps back the other direction, and you just twist the knob over and over again, and you cannot get it to adjust in the direction that you want it to go. And then you do it a little slowly, and it kind of does it, but then, oh, there it goes the wrong way again, and anyway. This is a problem with all of the AVIOMs, and it's just related to the pots getting dirty. The pot is the actual potentiometer, the thing that you adjust inside. Because this is a digital adjustment, this is a free spinning potentiometer inside, and when it gets a little dirt inside, it confuses the digital signal, and then you end up with things not working, like the pan button. I would like to pan the other direction, and it does not want to go the other direction. It wants to stay stuck all the way over here. So this is something that you can fix yourself without a whole lot of technical skill, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing you need to know about this is the knobs just pull straight off. Don't wedge anything underneath them. They don't come off with a whole lot of effort, but just pull off the knobs. Those come off. One other thing you do need to know is that as part of this process, all of these little switches are gonna come off. You don't need to worry about pulling them off at this point. They will come off. Down on the bottom side, there are a number of Phillips head screws that you will need to remove, and there's usually a hidden one underneath the sticker here. So if you've ever had your AVIOM serviced, that's going to be hiding, and I think I got another one hiding underneath this strip of Velcro here, which we used to attach this to a keyboard. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that one. And one of the things that I do to just keep everything sorted out and in decent shape is I'll use a tub to keep the screws in. And really there are only two types of screws. There's the big long screw, which holds the thing together, and there's the short screw, which holds a bracket to the back of the unit. So there's not a lot to get confused here. You don't have to keep super special track of what part went where, except for when you get to the buttons, and we'll come to that. There are three different types of these buttons. On the top, the type that has along the bottom here has two LED apertures. These have one LED aperture. This one only has one, and this has no LED apertures. So we'll come to that when we're reassembling it. For right now, you don't need to really worry about that. As it comes to taking these buttons off, you could just wait until you pop the circuit board out and they'll come out, but there are really tiny micro switches inside there that are pretty delicate, and it would be really easy to break them. So probably better to just take some needle nose pliers, very gently grab them from the sides. They come right out. It's not like pulling teeth. I mean, it's literally minimal effort. Anybody who's been working with AVIOMs for a while, you know that these things just like to fall out on their own. So they're not in there super hard. So taking the time to just individually remove them is probably going to serve you in the long run, rather than risk breaking those little tiny micro switches on your printed circuit board. And there you go. But we're going to just remove these Phillips head screws. And by the way, I'm going to just give a little shout out to my friend Matthias, who runs My Mix, and he's probably wondering, Brendan, why are you still messing with AVIOMs? Why don't you have a My Mix system? Well, I've been at 2 churches where we've had My Mix, and it is by far the superior in-ear monitor system, and I wish I had My Mix. If anybody wants to sponsor my church and buy us a My Mix system, I would be really pretty thrilled about that. But what I have is this old AVIOM system, which another worship pastor friend of mine very generously loaned us. So this doesn't actually belong to our church. It belongs to a different church, and so we're going to be very good stewards and return it in better condition than we found it, because that's what heroes do, right? Anyway, there we go. And as I have buttons go flying all over the place once again, buttons are free, the case is off, and here is our circuit board, and this is what we are going to be worrying about. These main two potentiometers, these are the problem children, and what we have to do to fix it is simply this. Spray the contact cleaner, or the electrical contact cleaner, down inside it, and turn it back and forth. You're just getting lubricant inside it, letting it drip down the shaft, and turning it, and that's just going to clean up the contacts inside. Do it to both of these. The left one is your stereo panning button. The right one is the far more important one because it's the volume for all of your channels. So just spraying some stuff in there, turning it back and forth just a little bit. You've got your bass, you've got treble, you've got your master volume. And all of these are analog switches over here, so like they work or they don't. There might be a little scratchiness to them, but they're not as persnickety as these ones right here. So, and I'm pretty liberal with how much cleaning solution I'm adding to it and letting it go down inside there. Just want to break up any crud that might be in there, and again, this will provide a lubricant to it as well. So once we're done with that, that's it. That is the repair to this. And we start putting it back together. Lay the circuit board back in your case, and the potentiometers will line up with their holes coming out the other side. See? Very nice. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the back plate on first so that it's got something to press against when we put the buttons back in. So buttons will just stick off to the side for the moment, and we'll go ahead and grab our screws. I've got it at the very lowest torque setting on my screwdriver here. But even then, you know, it's a good idea to go slow. And if you're using a hand screwdriver, probably even better. You do not need to use Kung Fu Monkey Voodoo Death Grip kind of levels of torque when you put it together. Just enough to hold it together. It's plastic, right? So once it's tight, it's tight. You're not torquing down a component for an engine for the space shuttle, right? That is a bracket screw. Again, there's only two kinds of screws here, so it is really hard to screw this up. Ha ha ha! See what I did there? Yes, I am a dad. I have a legal responsibility to do a certain amount of dad jokes per day, so you're welcome. All right, that part is back together. Now here's what I'm talking about with these buttons. If you hold them up to light and look through them, let's see if we can do that here. We'll aim it up to light and we will, there, you see? You can see through this one, there's 2 dots. That is the kind of button that goes on the lower section of the AVIOM. You see this one only has 1 dot. There are 3 specific places where the 1 dot goes. And then there is one other one in here that has no light coming through it at all. And there's only 1 spot where that goes. So I'm going to show you this one first. We'll make it easy. So coming back to our workbench where we were. Thank you. Get over there. Okay. So the one that has no dots at all that you can't see through, that is your mute button. And if you look in here, you will notice there are no little LEDs in the window when you look down on the circuit board. So yeah, you see how there's a red LED on this one, but there is not one here. That's your mute button. That's where the solid one goes. And it just simply snaps down into place like that. Now your ones that have only 1 light aperture, you want to line up with the hole there, but that's going to go in your solo button. And then we've got another one. Let me find it. These are all 2, 2, 2, 2. Here's a 1. 2, 2, here's a 1. Alright, so here's my other 2. The other 2 that only have a single light aperture through them, they go in these spots right there. And again, just line up the hole in the button on the top position so that it matches up with the LED. Snap it in. Oops. If you are one of those folks who has lost buttons on these, you can find them on eBay for like under $1. You can actually get a bag of 10 of them for pretty cheap too. Like I think I got 25 of these buttons for $5. So if you're missing buttons, they are replaceable. The parts are out there. So all of these others that have the 2 light apertures in the button, they just go down here on this bottom side. And some of them are a little picky about where they fit. There's a snap here. It's like a clamshell kind of deal. You might have to open it just a little bit to get it to sit happily in place. I've got a few of them that are like this. So I just put my thumbnail in, wiggle it just a little bit. Not a lot of pressure. You're just opening it up just enough. It's going to grab onto the plunger button. There's a little switch, micro switch under there, and it's just going to grab onto that and stay in place. So not anything crazy. There we go. Some of them want to fight me a little bit. Just gonna take an extra few seconds. Just open that up a little bit with your thumbnail, or gently. You don't have to spread it super wide. Just a minimal of pressure, and it'll go in there. And it looks like I am missing 1 button. That's probably on the floor somewhere. So let me take a second and find that missing button. Oh, here it is. Great. That wasn't hard. It is fighting me. Come on. Just go on there. There we go. All of those are back on. So now, of course, we need to put buttons back on here. And I find that the easiest way to do that is just turn them all the way counterclockwise here. Line up your needle with the low setting. The ones that do not have an indicator, those are the knobs for your center buttons there. Alright, so it is back together. Let's take it back over to our sanctuary. We're going to plug it in and see if our fix was successful or not. Here we are back in our sanctuary. And let's see. Plug it in. We've got signal, and let's see if our pan works. Oh, look at that. Our pan button works. Yay! And our volume knob does actually go the direction we want it to go when we want it to go there. So, success! How easy was that? Well, I hope that that helped you out if you do have one of those old AVIOM systems like this and you're running into that problem. Easy fix. One thing I might mention as far as the little black buttons on the front go, you may want to remove them before you start peeling off the circuit board, just because it does put a little bit of torque on the circuit board, and you do run the slight chance of breaking the individual micro switches themselves. They're pretty tiny little things sticking up to where the buttons grab onto them. So if you do want to take the time and use a pair of needle nose pliers or channel locks to very gently grab them from the top and pull them straight up, they'll pop right off. They're super easy, and that will probably minimize the chance that you're going to break anything there. But other than that, again, this is about 5 minutes per workstation to fix your ailing AVIOMs and buy you a little bit more life until you can afford to get a MyMix, which it was like worship leader goals, right? So anyway, God bless you. I hope this helped you. Thank you so much. I just want to give a shout out to Adam Michel at San Diego First Presbyterian, again, for very generously loaning us his AVIOM system for, well, it's been a very long time that we've had them, and I really appreciate it. It has helped out our ministry at Quest Church a great deal. And I do also want to shout out to the folks at MyMix. And definitely, if you have the means, it's a Ferris Bueller kind of thing. If you have the means, I highly recommend it. It's so choice. So definitely the way to go. But if you got these AVIOMs, you can breathe some life into them and keep them going. And there are lots of parts on eBay and Amazon that you can get to resuscitate them if you're missing stuff and keep them going for years to come. God bless you. Tune in, make sure that you like, subscribe, share this to your other worship leader friends or church media tech friends that might be dealing with this same issue, and I hope that helped you out. Also, you can check out some of my articles at worshipleader.com. I write for Worship Leader magazine, and you can also visit me at worshipteamcoach.com or worshipworkshop.com, where I partner with John Nickel. We've got some great websites with resources for worship team members of every sort of role to help you out. We even have stuff for senior pastors. So maybe pass that along to your senior pastor if you don't happen to be one. And we're happy to help resource everybody in your church to do worship ministry better. And quoting my friend Bruce Adolph from Worship Musician magazine, the goal is to be better by Sunday. So I hope this helps you get there. Bye-bye.